everyone, and again I am going to discuss about your clotting factors like platelet factors as I have discussed in last class in my last video. You can follow that my video. So not only platelets but also clotting factors are responsible. Without this barrier, our clot cannot be cured. Okay. Now these particular clotting factors, they are generated from our liver. These are proteins and also enzymes, and some minerals is also there. All total there are 13 types of clotting factors there, which are responsible for clotting process. Now let us discuss one by one. First clotting factor, you can say CF or clotting factor 1. Okay, these are clotting factor is known as fibrinogen. This is a large protein from that is known as, it is a form of fibrinogen, and that fibrinogen is converted to fibrin, just like your fiber. Okay, which it is a net-like structure which cover the wound area. Right. Second clotting factor is known as thrombin, prothrombin. Then it converted to thrombin, which stabilizes the fibrin clot. Okay. Third clotting factor is known as tissue factor. Whenever tissue cards are exposed, tissue factors releases. Okay, so particularly this particular uh, 3-number clotting factor, which gives the signal, first signal that the cord has been happened. That means there is a wound or bleeding in any part of your body. Second one is calcium. Clotting factor 4. It is not a protein, not an enzyme. It is a very mineral, very useful mineral, which is required for every clotting process, for every clotting factors also. It just like act like an as an horse for the warrior. You know, whenever there is a battlefield, warrior can walk or warrior can ride on the horses. So this particular type of clotting factors act as an horses for an warrior. That means very essential mineral which is required for clotting factors. Now let us discuss another 4 types of clotting factors. Now clotting factor 5, it is known as proaxelerin. Actually it activates clotting factor 10. Okay. Now clotting factor 8, 9, 10, these are very very important. I will tell later. It is most important factor for intrinsic pathway. Intrinsic pathway means, as I have already discussed in my last class, intrinsic pathway means the factors which is required to that means for blood clotting. Whenever there is a injury inside the blood vessel, not outside the blood vessel. So that's what is known as intrinsic pathway. And also clotting factor 6 is a version, advanced or activated version of clotting factor 6. So that's why in most of the book you will not find clotting factor 6. Right. Next one is clotting factor 7. It is known as pro-converting. This factor runs fast. That means it will run to that area fast whenever there is a wound or cut happens. And clotting factor 8 is very very important. Remember this clotting factor, clotting factor 8. Most of the examinations you are going to find these questions. Basically, in the last NEET examination, in upcoming NEET examination, you may face this kind of questions, whether direct questions or indirect or twisted questions on this anti-hemophilia factor, or this basically this clotting factor 8 is very important. It is known as anti-hemophilic factor. Anti-hemophilic factor, if there is a deficiency, it's a deficiency if inside your blood or inside your DNA, if this A8 is missing or insufficient, there will be a problem uh, during your clotting. That means bleeding will not stop, or if bleeding, then if clot, then clot will not able to cure. It's very slow. That's why this anti-hemophilic factors, it is genetic disorder. Whenever there is a mutation, means change in DNA, if a factor is missing, that means you are going to have a disease that is known as hemophilia A. 8. Hemophilia, hemophilia A, where the blood bleeding will not stop, and that is life risking factor. Next, come to another kind of clotting factors. Let us discuss their operations, how they are important. Now, this factors, clotting factors 5 is very important, and it is also known as Christmas factor. Do you know why it is known as Christmas factor? This particular clotting factor found first time inside a person whose name was Stephen Christian. So that's why it is known as Christmas factor. F9, that is known as deficiency of hemophilia. It is another hemophilia B. That is a disease. Okay. Here also clotting is impossible or very less, slower, because of there is a mutation of F9 factors inside the DNA. Okay. It is also genetic in characteristics, genetic disease. Hemophilia A. Hemophilia A, where there is a missing of factor 8. Hemophilia B, there is a missing of factor 9. Right. So actually what it does, F9 and F8 together, they activate F10. And do you know F10 why it is important? Because F10 work like a gatekeeper. It works along with the F5 to convert. Uh, that means your prothrombin to thrombin and fibrinogen to fibrin, which are main component or main important factors for the clotting process, right? So next is F11. It calls other to contribute during the clotting, and F12, it detects where the injury actually happens, and F13, that means factor 13 is very important. That means it strengthens the clotting wall so that the clotting wall will be permanent and the blood flow permanently stop. So now see how long the clotting process is. It is not, it looks like very simple. After 1 minute or some seconds, your blood flow clots. Means injury, the blood stops flowing and your life's safe. It is not life threatening. But behind that clotting, 5 kinds of platelet factors and 13 kinds of clotting factors working together. Okay, I hope this is a very crucial and critical and very important subject for the point of view for preparation. Those are preparing or those are NEET aspirant. Please don't forget to read it. Read this, basically watch this video very minutely and also repeatedly, so that this is a very long process I have discussed here, so that you can remember it properly, and it will be helpful. Definitely it will be helpful for your next or upcoming NEET exam, and I hope this video will be very helpful, and best of luck for your NEET examination. And if you don't yet not subscribe, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, because my next video will be on this NEET, will be for the NEET aspirant on zoology as well as physics. Thank you for watching my video.